Welcome, one and all, to another edition of Beyond the Headlines. We are here, me and Linda. And guys, did you do your homework? Did you do your homework and watch the movie Haxan? I hope you did, because that movie is, there's so much symbology in it. I've been talking about it for over a year. Me and Linda. Let's everybody say hey to Linda real quick. Hey, Linda, how are you?
Hey, Thomas, how are you? And I want to thank you again for hosting this Beyond the Headlines thing, because it's so much fun, and I don't know how to stream, and Thomas does it, and he lets me have Truman here too. He actually invited Truman on, so it's
always welcome.
Full house tonight.
That's right, it's a full house. I was telling everybody they better have done their homework. They better have watched Haxan, because it's the symbology within it, just what we're witnessing today when we talk about Marina Abramovic and we talk about death cults, and we see Hollywood and how they basically are just forking over their lives for riches, forking over their soul for riches, and age reversing witchcraft. That is what it is. It's what it is. They put out movies like The Nun. They desecrate the Trinity. They push it in our face, and they mock God. This is what they do. And this whole movie basically just entails what actually took place with the monks, when you have witches infiltrating the Catholic Church and taking over people in medieval times. This has been around for a very, very long time. And it's extremely interesting. It's extremely dark. I don't know how everyone felt about the movie, but I thought it was one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's kind of hard to get through now, knowing what we know. Well, what did you think? What do you think about this whole... we can talk about the director, the plot. We could talk about whatever we want to, because I know you've got some great points of your own.
Well, Thomas, I wanted to research this movie, and I made some notes here. Let me lose this. I've got a burden here. Here, you get over there. So this movie, Haxan.
Yes.
This movie was created by this guy, Benjamin Christensen, who's in the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
You know, starts out with a face. That's him. That's the guy.
He plays the devil in the movie as well.
Yeah, and he's obviously a witch in real life.
Yes.
He's one of them. So he's making this movie as like a propaganda movie. But I think what's interesting is the whole cycle of these people. And we're talking about this. Let me just start out by telling people what this movie Haxan is about.
Sure.
And it's about this guy, Benjamin Christensen, who's obviously a witch, studied this document. It's called Malleus Maleficarum, okay? It's called Malleus Maleficarum, and it was written by Heinrich Kramer. Now, if you look up Heinrich Kramer, Wikipedia is going to tell you that he's been discredited. He's a priest. He's an inquisitor. So what this means is, back in 1487, they had the same problem we have. And the Catholic Church got involved, and they had these priests who were inquisitors. And what they did was they interrogated the witches. Yeah, they did torture them and execute them and everything. But I mean, come on, look at what they're doing now. Look at what they do. Okay. So what this movie is supposed to be is it's propagandizing. What they're saying is there's no such thing as witches. Only ignorant people believe in witches. This guy's a witch who made this movie.
Sure.
And there's no such thing as witches. Anybody who thinks there's witches is superstitious and backwards. And he goes through the history of time. And he what he does is he thinks, well, these are the people that believed in witches. They also believed that planets were hanging from strings.
Correct.
He paints them as backward people. But I just want to make this one point. I won't hog up the conversation.
No, you're not at all.
I just want to make this one point, that there's a particular part at the beginning where they're showing these hybrids, these you know, with the bird heads, these Egyptian, you
Yes.
know, and these gods that are half animal, half human. And he's mocking it. He's saying, yeah, the same people that believe in witchcraft, they're backwards, because witchcraft is just for backwards people, because look at what they used to believe in. They used to believe in bird-headed men, and he's mocking it. He's acting like, can you believe people used to believe that these things, actually the Egyptians used to believe
Sure.
that these were their gods, and they believe these people really had bird DNA and all this stuff. And it's kind of funny because I just did a video with Candace Estev and Dr. Judy, and she's talking about how this is very real, how they can splice animal DNA into our DNA. They can cut into our DNA with animal DNA. And they probably were doing it, with the Nephilim and all of this, the Egyptians and all of this. So they were probably doing it. So I think it's funny that there's truth in there, and he's mocking it. He's saying that's not true either. And anybody who believes in that is just backward.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could see, we could talk about also in that movie. You're right. There's a part in the movie where one of the witches dies. She dies from, I believe, old age, and the devil comes down, not resurrects her, but basically her spirit leaves her body. This is all in the movie. She flies up into the sky and into a castle in the sky where the devil is like, hey, you can have your body back. I'm going to give you riches. I'm going to make you, I'm going to give you anything you want. I'll give you anything you want. But you're going to do my work. And in the end of it, you're going to die. Your soul's going to rot in hell forever. And she obviously, fully endorses the devil and comes back. She gets, brought back to life. She has to do the devil's biddings and infiltrates the nuns. She convinces them that, hey, what's God giving you? Look what I got. I'm cashed out right now. In part of that movie, in that dream sequence, where it was not necessarily portrayed as a dream sequence, like you're saying, it's all hip, it's just funny, don't believe in this. And when she's there, you're speaking of animals with like bird heads and so on and so forth. Well, there's a cut scene where a lot of demons are actually dancing in a circle with bird-headed animals, but they're people, pigs, upright, dancing in a circle around a fire. And where do they get this information from? Well, you're right. They get it from old text. Where this movie was, from the medieval times. And then you think back even further to the Egyptians and so on and so forth. I mean, there are hieroglyphics of these things, right?
But I also think they're still doing it. I also think they're still doing it. And
look at the Podesta art we covered.
And when they make something like that, they're laughing at us. What they're doing is they're saying, people who believe in this are backwards and uneducated, when they know damn good and well it's true. There are witches, there are warlocks, they do eat babies, they do all this stuff, they do make sacrifices, they do drink blood, they do all this stuff, they know it. And yet they're trying to pass off a bill of goods that they're really, the people, the evil ones are the inquisitors, who try to stamp out these witches, and stamp out this witchcraft. They're the evil ones, because the witches are just mentally ill people. And when he shows this, she's having this crazy dream and everything, and they're presenting it as a dream and as fantasy.
Correct.
It's actually probably exactly what they do.
Oh, yeah. It's exactly what they do. You could think, hey, why do you think witches, it's all hearsay. Well, let's look at Marina Abramovic. Marina Abramovic, if you look into how much that woman's worth and why she's so valuable to Jay-Z, Beyonce, so many others, Gwen Stefani, she's been around so much of what's going on in Hollywood. There's a reason that these people make, $15 million a movie. It's because they're selling their soul as well.
Yeah. And there's a reason she has a star-shaped house out in the middle of nowhere in, I don't know, upstate New York or somewhere in
Sure.
the middle of the woods. And this house was built beforehand by somebody who's probably a witch. They all stick together, and they all do the same things. And I noticed that there's another movie. Well, I wanted to make the connection between The Devils and Michael Aquino.
Absolutely.
So this movie, Haxan,
Yes.
1922, maybe?
1922, yes.
That's an occult year as well. The double,
Really?
whenever they have a double, like a 22 or an 11 or something like that.
Sure.
33, the double number. So anyway, that movie came out in 1922. And in 1971, there was a movie by Ken Russell. And it had Vanessa Redgrave and Oliver Reed.
Yes.
And it's called The Devils. And it was about a guy called Urbane Grandier was his name. Urbane Grandier. And he was another inquisitor.
Yes.
And what I thought was really hilarious, because while we were kind of chit-chatting and you were doing some things and I was reading on the computer.
Yes.
That this Urbane Grandier, they did to him exactly what they are doing. These people don't do anything different.
No.
That's the thing. They're mocking, back in 1922, they're mocking us, and they're showing us the truth, because they have to do that. That's part of their cult.
Yes.
And they're showing us the truth while they're telling us it's not true. It's double mock. They love that stuff. And so this Urbane Grandier was another inquisitor. And what they did was they forged a document that was a pact that he made with Satan. So it's like the dossier, or like it's exactly like what they're doing to President Trump. They accused him of doing what they were doing.
Projection.
Yeah, exactly. They were doing it even back then. So this guy, Ken Russell, made a movie out of it. And if you look up the images from The Devils, it's exactly like this Haxan movie. It's full of demonic imagery.
Yes.
Just more updated. It's from the 1970s.
Yes.
And the devils are the inquisitors. That's how they flip it around.
Tell people, Phil, what's an inquisitor for people who don't know?
Well, the inquisitors were from the church, and they were the ones that knew how to get rid of the witches, because they knew it was a spiritual battle and certain things have to be done. It's the same way people pray now. They do warring prayers, and they do prayer. There's a certain way you approach, and I'm not real savvy in that, but I always listen to people like Mark Taylor and Sheila Zensky and people like that. And they talk about when you are saying a warring prayer, you call on warring angels, and there's just a certain procedure. Just like when they do their rituals and things, they have a certain procedure that they have to follow.
Right.
Well, the same thing is true when we're addressing God. There are certain procedures that make it better, that when we're warring, we don't want the spirits to hear our plans, so we ask to be taken off the radar. And so these inquisitors knew specifically how to deal with these witches and how to get rid of them, how to get them to repent. First of all, they would try to get them to repent.
Mm-hmm.
But they also wanted to know who were the other witches. So they'd get them to confess, they'd get them to repent. And if that was the case, then they saved somebody, right?
Correct.
But if they couldn't get them to repent, they would torture them and all of this stuff, and they would just get rid of them. But they had to be even gotten rid of a certain way. I think they had to be burned or something like that.
Sure.
So there's a way even that they had to get rid of them, because they had spiritual knowledge, and just killing them wouldn't be enough, that they would find a way back.
Yeah.
So,
You if you want to look at how this interprets into today, let's just think about when they were talking about witches are gathering to put a hex on Brett Kavanaugh. Witches are gathering to put a hex on Donald Trump. This was just happening, and people, it's a joke. Oh, this is kind of funny. It's not a joke. It's very real.
A lot of people say when Kathy Griffith held up that head,
yes,
that was a curse. That was a spell. That was part of a ritual.
Yes.
That wasn't just her making a funny. There was nothing funny about it.
No, she was trying to be controversial, but God only knows what the.
No, I think it was part of a ritual that she did that. I think they were trying to kill him through their crappy magic. Obviously, they're crappy witches.
Yeah, black magic. I'm showing a picture right now of actually stills from the movie as you were talking. You can see what I'm seeing, and this is actually a infant sacrifice that they do in the movie. They drink the blood and then they give it to the witches, and they also give it to the nuns who are converting over to Satan. And again, this is in a movie from 1922. So, this is what they're showing. Blatantly.
And I think it's double mock. That's what I say. I think they're actually mocking us by telling us, if you believe this, you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right?
Sure.
Or you're the devil, because these people are mentally ill. They're having hallucinations, and this is what they're hallucinating in, and it's mass. These people have mental issues, and you're cruel for interrogating them. And then, of course, they don't want to be. This guy's a witch. He wants everybody to think that there is no such thing as witches, while he sits there and shows you stuff that we now know that's damn close to the truth.
17 has showed us so much that it takes place. I believe, what was it? I think it was one of the streams, Wednesday. I did a stream and somebody came on and they were saying, hey, look at post number 70. And I can try and bring that up here in a second. But yeah, it's Hillary Clinton wearing a black ring, just a black stoned ring. And it's occult. It's occult. It's symbolic. It's part of the occult. And this is what we're dealing with. People are saying, oh, this isn't a war or anything like that. This is no, this is 100% why Q or 17 says, this is biblical. This is spiritual. It's intense. We're witnessing, I think, end times, but in the sense that evil's dying. It's their end time, not our end time. Exactly. That's what I think. Real quick, guys, if you're enjoying this, please leave a like. And if you want to donate to me and Linda, you most certainly can. You can go to both our Patreons. We have PayPals. You can super chat down below here. Again, this is free content, free platform. So, guys, if you really enjoy this, definitely show your support. I would greatly appreciate it. But, if I could see in the chat right now, there's 1,200 people in here. How many of you actually watched the movie? If you watched the movie, press 1. If you didn't watch the movie, press 2. I just want to get kind of like an idea of how many people, viewed this movie, because there's so much in it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I also think that I'd really like to find out about this urbane grandeur that the Devils was made of. And I'd also forgot to mention about Michael Aquino. So yeah, they're back in the 1400s and all of this. They're still doing the same damn thing that they're doing now. They're forging documents. They're accusing the priests of doing what they're doing.
Sure.
They're trying to dirty up the priests and say, no, they're the devils.
Right.
And then have people feel sorry for the witches because they're just sick, mentally disturbed people, and these mean, horrible men are torturing them and going after them and all this stuff, which couldn't be further from the truth. We now know.
Correct.
But we all grew up believing this because of propaganda like this.
Yes.
And in the 80s, Michael Aquino did this exact same thing because he called it satanic panic. And they were molesting kids in these schools in the Presidio and in the McMartin school, and they were taking him in underground tunnels, which we now know were there. You know, they covered up those tunnels for the trial, and you can bet the authorities helped them cover that up. They scrambled to cover all that stuff up, and the parents wanted to go down there and look because their kids said there were tunnels, and that's why they covered up the tunnels. They filled in the tunnels just like they did at Epstein Island.
Yes.
So these people do the same things over and over. So Michael Aquino got out there and went on every talk show and talked about satanic panic and how it was mass hysteria and there was no such thing as witches. The same exact thing that this movie Haxan is, same exact thing that happened in 1971 when Ken Russell produced The Devils. And it was designed to make you feel sorry for these mentally ill people and to keep that idea alive that don't, you know, there's no such thing as witches, and if you believe that, you're an idiot.
No, it's very real. I'm trying to find the picture of the ring that she was wearing. 17 actually posted it. I thought it was post 70, but it was not. I actually put in the keyword, so let me scroll fast real quick just to make sure to see if I can find it. If I can't, then I can't. But I want to read. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, when you brought up this movie,
yes,
I was looking at it, knowing what we know now about what they're doing, because they never thought we were ever going to find out about this.
No.
And I'm going to try to find it. But Mark Taylor, and he came out. This was way before we ever found out about the depth of this, you know, and the breadth of it. Mark Taylor came out and he said, the Lord gave me a prophecy and I have to say it. And he said, there is a spirit of deception that is about to be released on the earth that has never been seen before. Never been seen before. I've got him saying it on audio because at the time, none of this had come out about they're not transgenders, but you know what I mean? The anti-signs and the fake news and all of this stuff. None of this stuff had happened. I kept thinking, a spirit of deception that's never been seen before. What does that even mean? Because we know all about all the deceptions, right? How do you have a spirit of deception that's never been seen before?
Right.
How old is the earth? You know, he's saying it's never been seen before on the earth.
Right.
And after all this happened, it's like, wow.
I found this picture I wanted to show you, and I'm going to share it on screen real quick.
Snoring in case you hear weird sounds.
Oh, you're fine. Let me show you real quick. So this is a post. This isn't what I was looking for, but I mean, there's just so much of it. Symbolism will be their downfall. Hillary and Chelsea wearing you-know-what crosses. So we could see here, Clinton on Weinstein accusations. I was just sick. Oh, were you? Because we all know there's a 5x5 raw video of you doing even worse things. Note the you-know-what cross she wears. Inverted, right, my friends? Then you can see here, an upside-down cross on Chelsea and her, like mother, like daughter. This isn't from an anon. This is strictly from the horse's mouth. This is from 17, so we know it to be true. They worship the devil. And this is what they do. They're witches.
They're doing exactly what that movie is doing, where they're acting like they're Christians and all, you know, they're the good people, and that there's no such thing, you know, Satanism, you know, they're just laughing it off and everything, all the while wearing these upside down crosses on their neck.
Correct.
Acting like it's a conspiracy theory, and those Pizzagate crazies and all of that, you know, calling us names, and all the while wearing those things on their neck, just like that movie where he's talking about there are no witches, and then he's showing us basically what they do.
Just scrolling through the things that this woman is a part of. She's who are the real racists? They project on the POTUS. We all know she's right there with Robert Burt, a you-know-what member from the first day in the Senate. I sought out his guidance, and he was always generous with his time and wisdom. And as a Secretary of State, I couldn't rely on his advice and counsel. Pure evil. And then we can see here they project it completely on our president right here. Who's the real racist, right? So they hate God, they hate us, and they continue to
let's
portray
be
it.
sure and not forget that Senator Byrd is who Kathy, the MK Ultra. I can't think of her last name. I always have a really hard time thinking of her last name. Kathy
O'Brien.
O'Brien. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. That's who she was, his supposed slave.
Yes.
And that's how she got connected to Hillary. And then now you just showed this picture of where they're like, she's whispering in his ear and stuff. So, that just validates everything that Kathy O'Brien is saying, that here's these two creeps whispering to each other in their ear. And it's disgusting.
It's real disgusting. I'm trying to really find this because if anybody knows where this is, I mean, she's wearing one right here, and this is very recent. I swear to you, this is the same ring. Check this out.
Well,
same ring that she portrays to wear all the time.
I don't know about the ring.
Right there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So there's actually a post from 17 saying that this black, not whatever this is symbology of Wiccan. It's demonic. And this is what they show.
It looks like emerald, and emeralds are green.
Yes.
And Satan is the green man.
Yes, I remember you telling me that.
And all of that Wiccan stuff is green, but it's satanic. It's of the earth.
Yes.
And so it's just one of their, it's Wiccan, and all that stuff is just Crowley and Blavatsky, Helena Blavatsky, who was a Crowley, cohort, and they were all into the occult, and she was the one that came up with that sort of new age thing, to sort of make it seem like nature, worshiping nature and stuff. And really it's just another version of the occult and of Satanism. That's all it really is.
It is. I want to do I got some more stuff here that I wanted to show everybody, and I'll share this with you as well. I wanted to read this because it just kind of breaks down what the movie is, and I'll move through it very quickly. So if you guys, a lot of you said you didn't watch it. So basically this is what the movie is. The Witches or Witchcraft Through the Ages. This is called Haxan. Is a 1922 Swedish-Danish documentary style horror film written and directed by Benjamin Christensen, based partly on Christensen's study of the Malleus Maleficarum, a 15th century German guide for inquisitors, which Linda told you all what that is. Haxan is a study of how superstition and the misunderstanding of disease and mental illness could lead to the hysteria of the witch hunts. The film was made as a documentary, but contains dramatized sequences that are comparable to horror films. Right. So this is another thing that they do, a good thing to bring up, is horror films. It's just supposed to scare you. It's not real. It's just horror. We're just here to spook you a little bit, But we're going to make a movie about a demonic entity that's in your attic, right? One of the scariest movies I've ever seen, and if you guys want to see it, it's called Hereditary. It's the craziest movie. It's not even considered a horror movie. It's considered a drama suspense. And it came out last year, I believe 2018. It's called Hereditary. Watch that movie. There is so much symbolism in it, it'll break you. Continuing forward real quick, it says, with Christensen's meticulous recreation of the medieval scenes and the lengthy production period, the film was the most expensive Scandinavian silent film ever made. And I'm telling you, if you watch it, you're like, how? Just because it's a silent film, the production value is really, really good. And, right here it says, the film has been banned in the United States and heavily censored in almost every other country for what we considered at that time graphic depictions of torture, nudity, and sexual perversion. It is now considered to be Christensen's finest work. And Linda, you said that he was a witch, correct? Isn't that what you said?
Well, that I'm
speculating.
have I researched him enough to know to link him positively to witchcraft? No, but look at him. I mean, if you can call up his picture, show his picture.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
People say you can't judge a book by its cover, but this guy,
Yeah, I beg to differ. I think in these pictures
Michael
you can.
Aquino, had eyebrows shaped like horns. Okay, you can't judge a book by its cover, but this guy's walking around with devil horns on his forehead and
Right.
wearing all black and lipstick and all this stuff. So, yeah, I would submit you can judge a book by its cover.
Me too.
He's got a demonic look. He looks exactly like one of them. Plus, he's rich. He came from, what did he go to? The Royal School Academy of, that's another thing. He's an actor, he started out that way. He did a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then he bought a production company.
Right.
So he comes from some wealthy, aristocratic family.
Sure. Showing it right now, Linda. So as you guys can see,
yeah, I mean,
come on, like check it, very, very scary. And actually in the movie, he's the director. This is him right here. This is him in makeup. That's him. And what he does in this part of the movie is he actually kills a nun with a club. He brings the club from hell and beats the nun to death. Whoa, don't want to get tagged for that. Yeah, this is him as well. That's him.
And remember, the point of the movie is that there's no such thing as witches. We should feel sorry for the witches.
Correct.
That's the point of the movie. We should feel very sorry for the witches. They're mentally ill. We should take care of them and be very, very nice to them. And anybody that comes after them like that is evil. And they're the witch. They're the bad guy.
Absolutely.
So that in itself makes me think this guy's a witch, right?
Well, I mean, anyone who's going to go on the screen in 1922, make a movie about it, and then direct it, and then star as the devil, and what you're depicting is you're beating nuns to death. Real quick, I have a huge shout out to Weeping Willow Tree. Thank you for that donation. That's very generous of you. I know it is the holiday season. Thank you so much for doing that. That's unbelievable. Thank you so much, Weeping Willow Tree. Very kind of you. Very nice. And again, Weeping Willow Tree. Come on. Thank you. That's very thoughtful of you and generous. Thank you for believing in what me and Linda talk about. Right? I mean, this is what we do. You can go and get on television and watch Sports Center, and you can watch Atlanta Housewives. You can go watch that and get brainwashed to death, or you can watch this show, our show. Watch our show and actually learn something, and try and keep those around you safe. Expand your thinking. This is what we're here to do, and it's extremely interesting. Very interesting.
I also think it's important to go over these movies, a lot of these movies. First of all,
I wish we could show them. I wish we could just...
Yeah, but we can show stills from them and zoom in on them and talk about them. But like this movie right here that we're talking about, but it gives you an idea of how they're manipulating us and how long they've been doing it. I think this is very important to know exactly what they've been doing to us and how did it get this far. And I was, I don't know if I was talking to you. Maybe I was talking to you, but these people, it's amazing that they do the same exact thing over and over and over again. And I was thinking about the Q team and the White Hats.
Sure.
And how it probably made it a lot easier for them to plan this whole military operation, because these people do the same things over and over and over again. It's like they're so predictable.
It's extremely predictable. They just had to get the right people in the right positions. Either it was going to be a soft war, which thank God that's taking place instead of a hard war where we have a military outside of our windows right now, and it's a complete takeover and complete massive chaos.
What's happening in China
and UK? They don't have weapons. They don't have guns.
Crazy.
They're vulnerable. I want to just go to the plot. There's only 4 parts to this, and you can just intervene whenever you want to. It says here, the plot, part 1, a scholarly dissertation on the appearances of demons and witches in primitive and medieval culture. A number of photographs of statuary, paintings, and woodcuts are used as demonstrative pieces. Talking about the set, it's crazy, guys. In addition, several large-scale models are employed to demonstrate medieval concept of the structure of the solar system and the commonly accepted depiction of hell. So again, you know, Linda, at the beginning of this, you said, yeah, they depict the solar system on strings, right? They're showing planets on strings. It says a series of vignettes theatrically demonstrating medieval superstition, and beliefs concerning witchcraft, including Satan, played by the director himself, this is the plot too, tempting a sleeping woman away from her husband's bed and terrorizing a group of monks. Also shown is a woman purchasing a love potion from a supposed witch, and a sequence showing a supposed witch dreaming, this is what I said, flowing through the air and attending a witch's gathering, which is one of the most disturbing parts in the entire movie. It says here, a long narrative broken up into several different parts set in the Middle Ages. It concerns an old woman accused of witchcraft by a dying man's family. The narrative is used to demonstrate the treatment of suspected witches, by the religious authorities of the time. The old woman, after being tortured, admits to heavy involvement in witchcraft, including detailed description of a witch's Sabbath, even going as far as to name other supposed witches. We talked about that, including 2 of the women in the dying man's household. Eventually, the dying man's wife is arrested as being a witch when one of the clergymen accuses her of bewitching him. And the final part of the film seeks to demonstrate how the superstitions of old are better understood now. Well, but it's propaganda. It's basically still saying that it's, you know, there's a high percentage of hocus pocus in this, no pun intended. But Christensen seeks to make the claim that most who were accused of witchcraft were most likely mentally ill. No, that's where Linda's saying it's propaganda, because it's not mental illness.
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
He looks like he's about ready to fly right off the screen into your house, and, you know.
Exactly. And to finish it up, and in modern times, such behavior is interpreted as a disease. His case revolves around vignettes about being somnambulist, I don't know what the word means, and a kleptomaniac, a thief. The implication being that these behaviors would have been thought of as demonically influenced in medieval times, whereas modern societies recognize them as a psychological ailment. There is a heavy irony, however, in the observation that the temperate shower of the clinic, i.e. the treatment of a hysterical woman, in quote, in a modern institution, has replaced medieval solutions such as burning at the stake. So, I mean,
I think that's there's a spiritual component to that burning at the stake. I think there's something about the way you have to dispose of these things that these priests believed in. And I think it's really funny. I was looking up and down this priest that from the movie The Devils,
yes,
where he was an inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
And they went out of their way to ruin this guy, and they came up with this fake contract, and it was a contract with Satan and all that stuff. But before that, it's uncanny, because it reminds me of Kavanaugh and all the things they did. But
sure,
before that, they had a bunch of women come out and claim that the priest had sex with them, and that their kid, they would claim that their children were the priest's kids. And they tried everything. They threw everything at him, just like they're throwing everything at our president. So this is something they've done for, God, thousands of years. This is like, what, 1621. So
yeah,
these things have been around for a while, and I wouldn't even be surprised if it's actually the same people that we're dealing with now.
Well, we are. I mean, who's to say how old these people are? You look at Marina Abramovic, and she's a high priestess. Don't get it twisted. She's not a dark arts, performer. She's a witch. People are like, she's 70. I think her real age is like 70 something years old, late 70s. And she looks like she's in like her late 40s. But how old is she really? Right? How old is she really?
Q told us they're older than we think. You know?
Really?
Yeah, there was a Q post who said they're older than you think they are.
What?
Talking about the Queen and all of that. Yeah, he was talking about, there's a Q post in there. He says they're older, just like there's a Q post that says the dead are going to come back to life.
Well, there's a Q post where they harvest people. Where the hell are they doing that at? Underground tunnels, bases.
Well,
they do clones.
You know, this is like we need to do another show on these disappearing people and stuff, because you know, yeah, they harvest people. And who are they? Well, I think it might be a lot of different things, you know, going on here. These people, just like that show we did that time where we were talking about that interdimensional beings.
Yes.
You know, these, what's happening is a lot of different things that are really, really weird. And when we talk about the occult, you know, here we are talking about something from 1621, and this guy who did this movie Haxan, they're talking about a lot of this metaphysical stuff, or the gene splicing and all of this stuff. I think they're laughing at us and mocking us while they're telling us what to think.
Correct.
And you know, just, I don't know, I forgot what my main point was about that, but
well, there's
there.
We need to go back and revisit these things with missing people. I think that we need to do that, because I think a lot of it entails a lot of not just what we covered the first time, but we can cover other stuff where these people are going, you know, interdimensional beings and all this kind of stuff. Where the hell are these people going, right?
And there's something going on, and people are being tracked. You know, there's something going on, because a lot of this stuff that's happening to people, David Paulides will say something about that they're German psychiatrists. They're Germans. A lot of them are Germans. A lot of them are doctors and scientists and things.
How demonic is that?
Well, here's the thing. They marry this ancient stuff, like we were talking about in the interdimensional beings with, what's his name, Parsons. He married the Crowley, not Babylon Rising, but whatever Crowley called it, and he married it with technology.
Yes.
And here's a guy who's like some kind of NASA icon, so he's got all the cutting edge technology that they are applying to interdimensional. I mean, when you look back at these government files, these people are digging around in time travel and interdimensional beings and all of this stuff. It's a matter of record. Why are they doing this? And all these weird things are happening. People are disappearing. I think it is a marriage of this witchcraft, this ancient witchcraft, with technology. And it's just gotten to a point where we're going to be blown away by what these horrible, hideous creatures have been able to do. So yeah, I think whatever's happening, we need to find out what it is and put a stop to it. But these people, you know, they're out here, they're having, quote, art shows,
right,
where she's rolling out these cakes that look like, or meatloaf or whatever it is. It's like a person, a dead person in a vat full of blood gravy. Yum.
Well, what does the lamb represent? The lamb represents Christ.
Right.
And she's mocking it. She's mocking it. She's wearing all white. Because you could take this picture, this right here. I will show you this. This. I realize the power of art that does not hang on the walls of the galleries. Yeah. The power of art? Oh, you mean witchcraft. Yeah. The power that does not hang on the walls of the gallery. Oh, you mean the one that you conjure, right, Marina? The one that you do and use to steal people's, I don't know if they steal their souls. They do something to embody the evil, and they basically, I shut down the soul or something. I don't know how that would work. I've looked into it, and then they replace it with darkness. and control them.
Supposedly they have a way of using the DNA they invite these spirits to come down and inhabit through the DNA. And I'm not sure. I'll have to get somebody like Juan O'Savin knows a lot about how they do this stuff. And I'd like to know just like the thing I was telling you about the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that where Hillary Clinton, who's a high witch,
Yes.
put all that circle of rocks that's at Epstein Island.
Yeah, on the sundial.
Yeah, but it's not a sundial.
No, it's a death plate or something.
Well, what they do is the high witch goes in the center of those rocks. Those rocks are there to protect the witch from the demons. And so this witch calls up all these demons and is standing in the middle of it. So there's all this activity going on. Like, I don't know what they do. Do they scream, or I don't know what they do, but they're these people who are outside of this circle want the demons to go in them, right?
Yes.
Also, they're summoning demons, so they're like out in the air too, and they're going into these people, and it's this chaotic scene, and there's blood, and there's all this screaming and wailing and all this stuff going on. And if the head witch goes outside of the circle, even though maybe all the people that are there are her relatives or even people she knows or has known her whole life, now they're occupied by these demons, right? That this witch herself has conjured up. If she steps outside that circle's there to protect her. If she steps outside, they'll kill her. She'll die.
The demons will?
Yeah, because they're angry. They don't want to be controlled.
Ah, okay.
And so when a witch like Hillary or like Marina Abramovic, one of these high wizards, warlocks, witches, these people, these international leaders, what does the Bible say? Principalities,
Mm-hmm.
These people are ushering in these spirits and principalities. And so when these things come down, they don't want to be controlled. And so the witch, though, has to control them, because otherwise they'll kill her.
Correct.
They'll all descend on her and kill her. So it's really something. I mean, what they say that they're doing is they're not playing around, I guess is what my point is.
Of course they're not playing around. Why would they? If they're playing around, Linda, then that means they're not getting anything out of it. And then they wouldn't do it because it's a bunch of bull crap. But if they were getting something out of it, then they would continue to do it. They're 100% getting something out of it. In return, they hold on, I gotta get my cat. Hey.
But remember, I'll take over. I'll talk. I don't have any problem. But remember, they are the richest people in the world. So they're doing this stuff.
Do what? I couldn't hear you. What?
I said, remember, they're the richest people in the world. They've got all the money in the world. They're the central bank.
Sure.
They're the Swiss Templars. They're the central bank. They all have their ceremonies. They're all communicating with these spirits.
Sure. Sorry, I have a Siamese cat.
Sleep.
He starts yapping. Yeah.
So there must be something that they're getting out of it, because they've got money, they've got everything they need.
Sure. But in the end, what do they get? They get their soul taken. Because they've literally, and I say this, and I'm sure you say it in your podcast too, they are definitely, are they even human? Is it them, or is it another entity that's, using that meat suit as its conduit, right?
And Mark Taylor, and if you just want to look at this from the spiritual view, Mark Taylor was talking about how the more you do this, the more you invite these things in, it actually, your DNA begins to change, and it starts to take over. It's parasitic.
Correct.
It's a parasitic thing. You keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And he was saying that they're probably not even the real people anymore, that they're so filled. That's what they said about Crowley, that he had so many demons and stuff from opening this portal with that Babylon thing, and he didn't close it. And all these demons were inside of him, and he was just completely mad, out of his mind, battling.
Well, here's the thing. That ring, I believe the ring that Hillary's wearing, and I will find this, I'll maybe post it on Twitter after the fact, I believe is Babylonian. And if you look at the movie The Exorcist, the demon that is brought back from that archaeological dig was from Mesopotamia, and it's Babylonian.
Yeah.
Why the hell is all of this transition back to Babylonian? Why does Jeffrey's temple, why does it look Mesopotamian? Why does it everything have to do with Babylonia? Very weird how all this goes back to that.
Why is the United Nations located at the base of Mount Hermon?
I don't know. I think that
why all of these geographical locations? Why these state parks? Why did they snarf up all these state parks? We just assume we're born. There's state parks. We don't really question it. But why were these state parks bought up to begin with by the government? And there's a guy, Phoenix Rising. Maybe we should try to do a live stream with this guy.
Sure.
He's a tracker and a guide. He lives in Phoenix, out there by some of these places that Paulides is talking about. And he claims that the government bought these places where these parks are up because they are occult locations, and they knew there was occult activity going on at each one of these locations, and they bought them up to control it. And if you remember, these people were exploring, this guy was hiking or something, and he found that pyramid, that entrance to that cave, and there was all this golden stuff in there.
Yes.
Never hear anything about that. And also, even out in the Grand Canyon, there's pyramids out there, there's stuff out there, and they have armed guards all out there protecting it. They won't let hikers out there. You'll get shot, threatened, arrested. So what the hell's going on in our state parks? There's something going on, and I think that Phoenix Rising guy is on to something about the government buying up the Illuminati, the government, the Illuminati inside the government, buying up, you know how they do it? They regulate. They're doing it now, trying to regulate every bit of water. They're trying to sneak into these laws. And I think they probably did buy up all those occult areas. And now people are going in there and all this weird stuff is happening to them. And it has been forever. It's not just now happening.
Well, I don't know. I'm it's not just happening. These people they're being taken, and they're being what I think is what's happening to them. I don't know if it's ETs or something. I don't think it's that. I think they're actually just being taken and then sacrificed.
Well, I think there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah, it's not just one thing. You're right. It's not just one thing.
Yeah, I think each thing is different. But I will say this, and we are a little off topic, but it is fascinating. And I do believe in the end, we're going to find out it's all connected.
Right.
All of it. And these are not isolated things that we're talking about here. But, it is, it's so interesting that some of these cases, there was one case at the end of that latest Paulides movie about the hunters, where a lady was out there deer hunting, and this is so bizarre. A lady was out there deer hunting, and she was in one of these, they call them a deer stand or something.
Sure, yeah, deer stand.
Yeah. And she was up in that. Meanwhile, there's a football game at the high school, which is close enough where she can hear it. There's lots of wooden stuff around, but it's close enough where she can hear it. So they're having this high school band practice, and she's hunting. Suddenly, everything goes quiet. And a lot of these people who have weird experiences, and the hikers and stuff, say the same thing. Everything goes quiet. There's no birds. There's no wind. It's just perfectly silent. She said if she had coughed or even whispered, it would have been so loud that every noise went away. And she's like, what the, she says, that's weird. And about that time, she saw something that in the trees, but it was invisible. So it was like she could see it like a piece of cellophane moving through the trees. So she picks up her phone and she takes a picture of it, right? Meanwhile, at the exact same time, the kids are practicing not that far away on this football field. The band is practicing, and they all look above, and there's a light, a weird light just hovering above this band practicing field. Well, the clincher is that when she gets the picture home, she said she almost forgot about it. This weird thing that happened where everything went silent, and she could see something moving through the trees, but it was like clear. It was weird. She had a bad feeling, but it didn't scare her too much. She didn't leave. She just stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
Other people have said that they saw something like that was like cellophane, and it scared them, and they wanted to leave. They ran, but she said she wasn't scared. The kids weren't scared by the light, but when she got home, she heard about it, that the kids had seen this light, and she went, oh yeah, I took a picture. I almost forgot about it. She went and got it. They went into the camera, and the camera takes 3 different sizes of pictures, right?
Sure.
3 different types of resolution. That's all the camera does. It's only capable of that. Yet there was this picture that was a completely different size that the camera doesn't even take. And it was a different resolution.
Oh, weird.
And it was of something so weird. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't a creature or anything like that, but it was like all these lights going down. It was, and this almost like a big strand of DNA or something. It was so weird, this picture.
Weird. I'll have to look that up too.
Picture while the light was hovering above the football. So all this happened at once. So weird. This is so weird.
Very weird. I'm looking right now. I'm going through the Shannon. One of my mods said it's in the 300s, talking about the ring, and I came across this. These people are all part of a sick cult, a club where they hurt kids and everything like that. And we can just look at this right here. What do we see? We see Remember by Gloria Vanderbilt, right? We all know about this. With children, naked children, and then we see JonBenet Peace, JonBenet Ramsey. Remember her? Remember all that? And then we see Haiti 2010, and then we see this picture right here that I don't know. I think that looks like a shirtless. It looks like a shirtless Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, and that's the one in the pool that we talked about.
Yes, correct. On the straps where they're like that. It looks like the same Podesta art. It's just amazing how all this ties together. It's just children, pictures. And then, he's a multi-billionaire. These people are multi-billionaires. And then you see Honey Boo Boo in the background. There's a reason that she became famous. I'm sure that her Jabba the Hutt of a mom sold her for cash. I'm sure that is the case. And, this is what happens. And he's cuddling. Why would he walk out there like that with this thing? It's not normal to do. It's never easy. It's never... I just don't understand how normal people think that this is acceptable in any way, shape, or form.
There's a series of mega memes about that stand-up of Honey Boo Boo.
Oh, yeah?
They insinuate that there's a lot more, and I almost think that he is the handler of Honey Boo Boo. They're all CIA. All of those
sure.
CIA. They don't let... All those reality people came right out of the CIA and out of their dumbs, and they're all programmed and everything. I wonder if that's a little boy. That's what I wonder. That's been transed, and is that Anderson Cooper is the handler of it.
It's so sick and demonic.
That's what they do. Ellen has, she's the handler of some of these Disney kids, and
again, her background is just like Jeffrey's temple, which is Babylonian, which leads back to Mesopotamia. Look into that, guys. Look into it. Look into the Babylonian tie and the Mesopotamian tie, and tell me why all these people are worshiping that, right? And somebody posted in the chat, which I also thought it was cool, was that they were talking about the black cube that people worship, like Saturnists.
That's what most of these people are, and it's kind of complicated. And I know that I had talked to Juan07, and he wanted to talk about that. I'm supposed to do an interview with him, and he said he particularly wanted to talk about that because that's what most of these people are. They're the black cube, the black sun, and that's what the Nazis were, the cult of the black sun back in World War II. Hopefully.
I know what you're talking about.
N-word.
Yes, I got you.
But yeah, so that's what the Germans were, and the Third Reich, they were all part of the cult of the black sun.
Yes.
And it's Saturn worship, and Islam is even a part of that.
Sure.
Saturn worship.
Absolutely. Linda, right now we're at the top of the hour. We'll take like a minute or two break, and we'll regroup, and I think we should take phone calls. I think that would be fun to do, and then I want to go ahead and read this about the cult. But we'll be right back, guys. Let's go ahead and just take a breather for about a minute, and we'll regroup and pick up the phone lines. So I'll post the phone lines real quick, guys. If you're enjoying this and you find it informative and you're enjoying your Friday night with us, please leave a like on this. You can donate to me and Linda by going to our PayPal and Patreons. Please follow us both on Twitter. You can follow me at TRUreporting, and you can follow Linda at Linda_Paris. And if you want to super chat, people have been doing that all night. I greatly appreciate it. 1,700 people. If everyone donated $1, just imagine what kind of support that could add up to. It's very nice. So guys, let's take a quick break, and we'll check back with you in about 1 minute. Okay, I'll be right back, Linda. All right, and we're back. So, We're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines real quick. I wanted to share this real quick with everybody, though, real quick, just to tell you that 17 even tells us about these death cults. He's been telling us about it. And right here, it says here, the satanic cult. This is post 70. All that you know to be right is wrong. The cult runs the world. Many celebrities, politicians, powerful people, and powerful groups all belong to the same sick cult, death cult club. They worship Satan and openly show it with their symbology. Owls and Y-heads, think of the Rothschilds, tattoos, jewelry, inverted cross, black rings, left eye marker, eye of Ra, adorned in gold like gods. They practice spirit cooking and perform child abductions for satanic ritual abuse and sacrifice to Moloch, Satan, in hidden locations, e.g. Jeffrey's Island. We pray every single day for God's guidance and direction as we are truly up against pure evil. The world is fighting back and destroying the cult. This is what we're watching. We're watching it in real time. So I wanted to share that with you all. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in some phone calls real quick. Let me set this up for everybody. What do you think about that post, Linda? What do you obviously they're dismantling it, right?
Yeah. And it really, now that a lot of this stuff is coming out about Epstein, you know, it's kind of funny because somebody, of course, Epstein didn't kill himself. And somebody made the point, here's a guy that wants to procreate and create a whole race of his own.
Transhumanism.
Is he really going to kill himself?
Right. Right.
And he wants to make a bunch of mini-me's.
Correct. Exactly. This is what they wanted to do.
Not the kind of guy that kills himself.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So this is the number to call in. The first number is East Coast. The second number is Central. The third number is West Coast. And the meeting ID is down below if you want to call in, talk about, let's stay on topic. Let's stay on witchcraft. Let's stay on death cult. Let's stay on what this propaganda is we're watching. So I hope you guys are all enjoying this. Thanks to everyone who is, supporting this and sharing this on social media and also leaving a like on this. This is extremely important stuff that I think we all need to know. It's part of the awakening. It's better than getting hit with a blunt object of the truth when we can dish it out slowly to everybody. I think this is why we do this, Linda, is to actually kind of soften the blow.
Soften the blow, open up the conversation, because a lot of people are going to make, come up with things that, it's kind of practice,
Correct.
We get with our friends and start talking, because then somebody says something that you didn't think of, and they really have got us, all of us, programmed. And it's
for sure.
It's practice. And instead of going, oh no, I don't believe that, instead of doing that right off the bat, to listen to what somebody has to say and really think about what they're saying and think, well, okay, and open up your mind enough to let that other opinion in, and say, okay, maybe I don't buy on this 100%, but don't devalue the other.
Sure. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
There's an art to all of this, and we're exchanging fun ideas, and so it takes the sting off of it, because we're in for some real surprises, I think.
Yeah, I think we are too. All right, guys. So real quick, before we start the call-ins, go ahead and mute the stream on your computer so there's no feedback, and just wait for me to call on you. Okay, you'll see when I unmute you. So let's go ahead and take our first caller. Remember, mute the stream so there's no echo. I greatly appreciate it. So we see here, hey, welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Linda and Thomas. How are you doing today? What's your name and where are you from? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, I hear you. Go ahead. What's your name and where are you from?
Hey, Thomas, it's Elvis. Once again, first caller.
What's up? Hey, what's your name one more time? I'm sorry. You're really low.
It's Elvis.
Hey, what's up, Elvis? Sorry, dude. You're really, really low on the mic.
Am I better now?
There you go. Perfect, man. How are you tonight?
Good, man. Can't complain. Trying to always jump in when I can, man. Life
Love it.
sometimes
Love it, my
pulls
man.
us out.
What you got for me?
First of all, I want to say, God bless all you guys. God bless the listeners. I always want to send that good positive vibe because we have so much negative being shot at us that we have to make sure we constantly
Absolutely
speak it out. So I want to first of all say that. And then what I wanted to bring up was some of what I had spoken with you on Twitter about the AI.
Yes.
Because it is, to me, I can't speak of AI honestly without having to bring up the spirituality behind it. You see, and
Sure.
and like how I can't separate CERN from AI, because the way I put it together is like this: when we get possessed, when we have an entity from outside come into our bodies, we can always, through the power of prayer, ask God to free us from that, right? Because this body belongs to us. We're the host of this body. That's an invasion. But when you create AI, that's not a creation of God. That's not a body of God. So once these demons go into those bodies, those entities, there's no extraction. There's no form of getting them out of there, because that host, that body that's carrying them, has no link to God. So that is one of the first things they have to do, because you can always bring someone into your cult who can always turn around and go back the other way. But when you're talking about something that is not organic, something that is alien, just like the entities,
Yes.
now we have a separate creation within our own creation. Their final goal is to pretty much make themselves as humans as us, but become our superiors. And that's why we're getting all this backwards stuff, like, we need boys and girls bathrooms. Which makes no sense. It has nothing to do with rights or nothing. It's about confusion. Because
Yes.
once we start confusing a younger generation, they don't know what to accept other than what is being told to them by mainstream. So even if they don't agree, even if they're confused, they have no other choice, because all they can do is follow what they're being told, because that's how they've been programmed to. See, you don't have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of thought. See, right now, when we have God in our lives, we have two things. We have his wisdom that he puts upon us, and we have vision, which he puts upon us so we can see through things. But the younger generation that's being raised away from that, no prayers at school.
Yes.
Oh, we come from monkeys. See, they're taking away their one weapon, which is having connection with God.
God,
Because
that's so true.
Yes, because you can go astray, but if you were taught as a young kid what the right path was, you can always, during the process of that path, stop for a second, contemplate, meet yourself, and turn around. But you see, AI will never do that. So when they open CERN, basically, which I see it as a Stargate, what's going to happen is now they need bodies to come, for them to come into and stay and rule.
Yeah.
So they need the bodies, the human body. They want the AI to come in, use that body, and then rule the planet as like an AI-like
Correct.
conduit.
That's why our cars are going to be driven by AI, our teachers are going to be AI, our doctors are going to be AI, our police are going to be AI, and we're just going to be suckers if we don't stand up.
Yeah.
I agree, Elvis. Linda, what do you think about that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And I also think these chemtrails and all this stuff is also to keep us.
Correct.
Yeah.
They need to turn the environment into an environment that is conductive.
Yeah.
Because everything is going to be interconnected through this energy. Even our minds. They want to control our minds. See, GMO is not about saving the world from lack of food. GMO is pretty much a soft way to rewrite our genomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is. They're rewriting it in a way where they're hacking everything. So we're not in the matrix like people think we are. Not yet. We're somewhere there, but we're not there yet. But the matrix is not so much the planet. The matrix is going to be our perception.
Yeah.
I get
That is the matrix.
But I don't think this is going to take place, though, Elvis. I think that...
No, it's not. Hey, Thomas, I'm 100%
I think it could have been, I think, on another timeline.
Yes, that was the projection we was going. But one thing I have discovered is this, that just people go, well, how come we get these miracles when people get together and pray? Well, of course, God is being the Almighty, but it's also the consciousness. See, future is created by the consciousness of now. So when we become conscious of something, it projects as a whole. That's why the mainstream media, MK Ultra, all evolves around feeding the masses, because when all the subconscious of everybody is put together, it creates an alternate truth.
Yeah.
I agree, Elvis. You know, dude, always, and we're talking offline. We're starting to talk offline about a lot of stuff, and I think me and Elvis might start, you know, talking about stuff in podcasts, so podcast form. So Elvis, always on point, my man. I got to get to 5 other callers.
Yes.
I agree,
God
man.
bless you guys. Yes, God bless you guys, and I look forward to, you know, helping, because this is what this is. This is the square right here. This is where we meet, and we are able to exchange info, and we can, like I always tell people, you can listen to me, but do your homework. Do your homework. You can listen to Thomas, you can listen to Linda, but there's no point going to school and listening to the teacher if you don't do your homework. Do your homework.
Absolutely.
That's all I gotta say. God bless you guys, and I'm here. God bless, and I look forward to talking to you later.
All right, Elvis. Take care, my man. Thank you, dude. I'll keep in touch with you tonight.
Bye, Linda.
Bye.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Elvis with the Grand Slam.
In the house.
I'm telling you, like, I know that people will be like, well, I don't know if that was really on topic. Well, it is. It is on topic, because what they're trying to create is something demonic. And what have we been talking about this entire podcast? Demonics. You know.
Also, they're spiritually manipulating us as much as they possibly can. And that goes back to that Haxan film. You know, they're laughing at us. At the same time, they are trying to train the way we think. They're trying to tell us how to think, you know, again, you know, it's like, oh, you're a uneducated rube.
Right.
Witchcraft, and you're a horrible person if you think the Inquisition was, you know, if these priests were doing the right thing by, you know, working with, you know, getting rid of these witches. So, yeah. And for so many years, that's what we thought, and we accepted it as a society. Oh, witches. There's no such thing as witches. Witches are funny cartoons.
Right. Exactly. Very true. They mock us. Hey, welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Thomas and Linda. Who is this and where are you from?
Thomas, it's Kirk from Lagardo, Texas.
Hi, Kurt. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Linda?
Hi, Kurt. How are you?
I'm good, and I want to take you back to the 13th of this month. You were having an interview with Juan Osave, and it was my daughter's birthday. She turned 25, and you and Juan were talking about something that triggered something in me that I haven't thought about in a long time. I'll take you back. It was 2004. I had what is called an open vision. Just imagine you're looking up in the sky, and it's like a screen opened up. I heard a voice say, "Look up." I looked up, and I saw the screen open up, and Satan was there, just roaring. He had ram's horns, rolling like thunder. You could just tell he was evil, evil. And then what appeared above him was George Washington, and his hair turned into our flag. There were no stars on the flag, but his hair turned into the flag. And then out of his head came jet fighters. And I was always wondering about them jet fighters, and it wasn't until you and Juan O'Savin were talking about the military and the Air Force, how they would have to have the secret handshakes, and they would have to recruit the certain guys to be evil in there. And when y'all were talking about that, it triggered me back to this vision that I had. Well, the jet fighters were coming out of his head. They looked like the Blue Angels, or in Canada, they got the Thunderbirds, but they shot up and they came out. And next to that appeared a great valley, there was a great mountain valley. And above to the top, in the far left top, there was a ram, and he was walking on an arch of rocks. And I had to go back, and I remember I've drawn this thing, I've painted it, but there were 14 rocks, and he was walking, and the rocks were going counterclockwise. That's the Lamb of God, and there was a countdown. I believe it in my whole heart. That was 14 years ago, and we're in the 15th year now of the Great Awakening. The time of evil is over. It's short. That vision made total sense after I heard 107 talk about those jet fighters. I always wondered about them, and it came true, and it brought it all home to me.
Yeah, he wants to talk more about that too, because there were a couple things he wanted to add to that. So we're going to do another interview about that. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting because I didn't know that. I knew about the Army and Michael Aquino, but I had no idea about the Air Force. So
yeah, I never understood about the jet fighters. But after I heard 107, it popped in. I hadn't thought about this vision in years. And I had to go back and break out. I have all my paintings and drawings of it. I broke it all out, and it all came to me on my daughter's birthday on the 13th. Now, Linda, are you a ram?
I am a ram.
You are a ram, and you and I believe, are you the 9th?
How do you know that?
Because I'm a 9th. I'm a ram.
I was born.
And I am linked to you, woman. I am linked to you. I don't know how, but we are born on the same day. I believe we were in line when you came down here. Yeah.
Say again.
Go ahead. I just know that we're linked.
I was born on April the 9th. You're exactly right. I'm an Aries all the way.
You're a ram. Are you 62?
Well, let's not talk about my age.
I'm not going to go that far. I am 62, so I'll leave it at that. But anyway, yeah, and I had to talk to you about this tonight because it all came to be. And let me tell you, I told you, Thomas, the big lights on. It's all coming to the great. These people, the evil ones, are done.
Yes.
They're done.
I agree, Kurt. I 100% agree, man. I think that we're at a turning point. I believe we're here to witness this for sure. We have a purpose. But, man, I appreciate your call. I got 7 more calls to get through, Kurt, and I appreciate the call, my man. Thank you.
All right, Linda. And Thomas, y'all doing a great job.
Thank you, dude. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Yeah, so
Okay.
what?
That's just, he said, are you a ram? And I was like, I know I made a face when he said that, like.
Yeah, I didn't know I thought you were talking about the astrology, but I wasn't too sure. Let's see here. Hey, welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Thomas and Linda. What's your name and where are you from? Hello? Are you there?
Hello?
Hey, who's this?
Fred from New Hampshire.
Hey, Fred, how are you?
I'm doing good. I didn't hear it on mute, so.
Yes.
I have like 4 or 5 points that.
Let's do 2 points. Let's do 2 points. 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to let everybody, remind everybody, I have a speech impediment and I talk very fast and I try to talk slower.
You good?
Basically, the first one was the last caller is on point to a certain aspect. Like everybody is getting new ideas or new abilities. So the vibrational and like I don't know if you're what dream scanning, but basically you connect to other people that are on the same vibrational frequency as you are.
Correct.
So, and the second thing I wanted to bring up was you and Linda should do a show on the Saturn moon matrix. Because basically what's happening is they're taking rid of all the evil out. And the evil's been controlling the slaves, or the ants, I like to call them. Well, we live in an ant farm.
Sure.
But basically, once all that's gone, the Saturn lunar matrix is going to be gone. Trump just went and signed another $738 billion the day after the House tried impeaching him into a military contract. And he brought Space Force last night in the rally, and he brought Space Force again today. And then if you notice, Melania Trump was wearing a trench coat, but last year she came out on stage wearing a Palatian uniform.
Say that one more time.
So, Melania Trump, if you look at tonight, Donald Trump just signed $738 billion into the military.
Yes.
And he bought the Space Force, and he bought the Space Force again today when he was doing the signing. But Melania Trump came out, and it was the first time ever that he had her talk on the podium, and she introduced the president. She didn't do a speech or anything else, but she was wearing a trench coat. And if you look at the Q post or the post last year, she's wearing a Palatian outfit.
She's wearing a what outfit?
A Palatian.
Palatian?
You know what a Palatian is?
No.
It's basically it's an ally to the Space Force. It's ET basically.
Oh.
I'm gonna be honest with you, real quick, Fred. I've seen a lot today, and Linda, I don't know if you've looked at it either. Today on Twitter, a lot of people are talking about Ivanka and Melania being Palladians and Arcturians or something like that.
Exactly. And then you notice that Trump yesterday or today, I forget what it is, but he reposted a tweet from ET on that's his handle on Twitter.
Yeah, incarcerated ET.
So he's putting like codes out there, and everything times in. With last year's, it's either a Christmas ceremony or something that Trump did, and she's in a full white/silver outfit. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a full body suit. It's a Palatian outfit.
Very, I don't know. I just there was something else that he tweeted out, and he tweeted it out instead of saying CT. He was talking about the Space Force, and he typed out ET.
Yeah.
Did you? I saw that, and I can't find it. I can't find it where I saw it. I think it was his tweet, or he retweeted something about it. I'll have to go back and look, but he tweets so much.
No, he's dropping hints for everybody.
He is. He's dropping hints, and a lot of this stuff happened today. I don't know. A lot of people are talking about Space Force and everything. I know he dropped the $738 billion for specifically that. So it's like, and then he's giving these hints. He's retweeting incarcerated ET. I use that guy's stuff all the time on this channel. So it's, what are they hinting at?
Let me say my last three things, and I'll make it quick. You guys
you gotta make it quick, man. Make it quick.
Okay. The first one is Anderson Cooper. You look at the girl in the background. A lot of people think that that's John Bonet, and that's why they recreated the other girl. I forget her name.
Honey Boo Boo.
Honey Boo Boo. Yeah. But if you actually look at that picture very closely, look on the table, and you'll see a magazine that is only to super elites, and I won't mention what it is, but it's basically a trading magazine.
You're talking about the when he's in his office and the cutout is, and he's on the table.
Yeah.
It's,
I won't mention much about that.
It has something to do with walnuts.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah.
Correct. Thank you, Fred.
And the other thing, too, is if you look at Pelosi, she shut down everybody yesterday from clapping on the impeachment, but look at her outfit and her staff. That staff on her chest.
Yes, I saw that as well.
That has a particular meaning to it.
Yes, it has a fascist.
Well, it's worse than that. It's almost like if you look at the people that had to cut their finger before they went to Congress.
Yes.
It's kind of like they had to make sure that they were going to be ritualized in.
Oh.
Yes. So it's like the prick, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I saw that too. And I saw some tweets on that as well. I actually saved those. So I think I'm going to do like a special podcast tomorrow because I promised a double upload today. That wasn't going to happen.
You guys should definitely do a post on or a show on the Saturn Moon Matrix.
I wrote it down.
he is totally trolling by saying we're going to Mars, and supposedly we already have a colony on Mars.
Yes.
So he's basically telling them we're going to expose what you guys are doing. And I had a video a long time ago on YouTube, which I got to find, which just explained the Saturn Moon Matrix. Unbelievable.
We'll definitely have to look into that.
I
I don't know much about it. So I'm learning so much doing this beyond the headlines. I'm going to be honest.
Real quick, just so your audience doesn't wonder what it is. Saturn Moon Matrix is when they take common credits for good and bad, and they put you back into basically the universe, and they get a free ride by using your bad credits. So it allows them to do whatever they want, and they can still ascend.
I get that. I've heard stuff about that before. That's very interesting. Very, very weird. Does that have to do with like archons and stuff?
Well, I mean, archons and stuff like that, I don't get too much into that because that's basically like Jermaine Travis. He does awesome on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically those are different alliances and people who are fighting and blah, blah, blah. So I don't really get into much of that.
Sure.
But this is basically what they call soul keeping.
Okay, soul keeping.
Soul, and they can reuse your soul and put you back into a slave society, and they get a free pass.
I get it, my man. We will, Brett, I appreciate it, man. Great points as always. You and Elvis always come through. Great callers. Thank you, dude, and we'll pick back up on Monday with another stream, okay?
Awesome. Okay, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Take care, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Fred and Elvis know what's up. Good callers. They yeah, I don't know anything. Do you know anything about the Saturn Moon Matrix?
Well, actually, Juana Savin talks a lot about that, and I don't really, I haven't had a chance to really study too much about it. But Og Talese, the one of these MK Ultra victims, he talks a lot about it too, and a lot of kind of what Fred was saying. He says there's a lot of lost souls out there. They're meaning literally, disconnected souls and
sure.
stuff. And he talks about that they're messing around with people's souls. They're trying to take their consciousness. This is a spiritual war. So doesn't it make sense that they would be messing around with that kind of stuff? Because these people want to control everything. And I think what other people have been saying about them, they're trying to degrade us so that we can't talk to God. We disconnect from God in 1,000 different ways. And then what they're trying to do is change the balance and make themselves better, give themselves all the AIs, and degrade us and program us. And I don't know, listening to some of to Elvis talking about
AI
wanting to open up CERN and have a bunch of soul bodies, people already ready to let these entities in as parasite off.
Makes a lot of sense because of the pictures that they've shown from CERN. It's just like demons' faces. They're just waiting. Yeah. But again, it was I can't remember who said it. Somebody on the show. I feel bad, but somebody said it who was actually a guest said that that sounds terrible, but they were saying that that they could not that CERN kept having breakdowns. Oh, it was the it wasn't a guest. It was when Red Pill was on and we talked about Looking Glass. So that's what it was. P.S. guys, I will be having John here to help on, and he actually says that he worked on Project Looking Glass. So he's coming on the show. He's already committed. We already signed and everything. So we just got to figure out a day. Probably going to be next week sometime after Christmas. But that should be good. And I also have a whistleblower coming on who actually is suing Google right now. So he's a friend of Zach Voorhees, so he'll be coming on and talking too. But these big tech companies, align themselves with CERN. They align themselves with AI. They want to eliminate humanity and control it. So to hell with all of them. Let's go ahead and take another call. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Linda and Thomas. Who is this? Where are you from?
Hello, I'm Gene. I'm from Aurora, Colorado. I'm CoSensei64 in the chat.
Hi, Gene. You doing good today?
Yes, I'm doing great. Just got back from a nice hike with our doggy girls up in the mountains, getting some, time in the Church of God out in nature.
Yeah.
Nice. Sounds great. Sounds great. What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, quite a few responses to comments. Linda, do you know Kirsten W? She says she's a friend of yours. I've done a few decodes on her show.
Kirsten W.
Yep.
From here? Yeah, I do know her.
Yep, I've done a few decodes for her, as well as about 18 for Blessed to Teach, who's Rick.
Yeah.
And I did some on DUMS and, all AI and all that. AI, if you went back to I have copied from the screen capture on 8chan back when we had that. Sure. The AI queen is called Sophia. She's the ancient evil, the original separation that tried to avoid the laws of sin or karma, or however you want to view that, by going into AI and separating herself. And so she needs being separated from source energy to feed on soul energy all the time. And so Lucifer's just but one of her little minions to bring that to her as like multi-level marketing.
Feed off, instead of source life, soul life.
Yep, because she can't get the source energy because she's hiding as AI.
That just resonates with me. I don't know why, but it does.
Yeah.
Gave me chills.
And then on the zodiac, as you probably are aware of, both of you, nothing that we know is pretty much true anymore. The zodiac signs are not all equal in length, and they're also 13 signs, not 12. And for example, Scorpio is only 9.7 for Virgo's 46.3. And Linda, April 9th is Pisces. That's the time of your zodiac is based on the constellation that's above the sun on the day you were born. Pisces is above the sun on April 9th.
Well, that's going to be hard for me to get used to.
Yeah, I know. It shifted me from Aquarius to Pisces. I was like, what? When I researched all this.
Yeah.
People are saying there is 13 signs. They're saying that.
Yeah, the Physicus, which is the healer, and of course they don't want us to know about healing ourselves, is the one they took out. There's a period of time frame which there's none of the 12 known zodiacs that has to do with sacred geometry. Sacred geometry goes in certain sacred numbers like the one, the triune God, the one God, the triune nature of God, the 7, and then the 13. So if you were to glue 12 balls around a central ball of the exact same size, you can glue 12 around the one, which makes 13. So that's why, like with Christ, you see 12 disciples and the one that's at the center, which Christ. So that's the 13. On the moon matrix, I also studied on that in depth. I've also had the opportunity, and you should, if you get a chance, talk to Jordan Maxwell. I talked to him for 12 hours straight, 5 in the afternoon back in 1990 when I first red pilled, to early in the morning, about 5 a.m. And so the moon matrix is a soul capture system that when you die and your soul leaves your body, if you still haven't sold it off or pieced it out, it's captured by the moon, amplified, transmitted to the rings of Saturn, where it's sent into the southern eye of Saturn, the southern storm, the southern pole. If you look at that, it literally looks like the all-seeing eye. You can get pictures from various space,
Yeah.
Where can we find real quick? Where can we find these real zodiac signs?
Anybody that wants information from me, I send out tons and tons and tons of stuff from all the people. My Gmail is COLOSENSEI64 @gmail. And also on that, the time of the year, there's 13 months in a year, 28 days equal. They don't flip and flop from 28, 29, 30, and 31. Julius and Augustus Caesars actually changed the lengths and added months and all kinds of crazy stuff. And like, with the cabal, they are collecting taxes at the end of the year. Nothing begins in the middle of winter except a whole lot more winter, or if you're down under the equator, which is actually above the equator, because the year's upside down, they're lying to you there too. The Arctic is actually the South Pole. And that can be seen because the positive pole of a compass points towards the Arctic and opposites attract in magnetism. So the Antarctic is the positive pole or the North Pole. And also, if you study Chinese medicine, when they go to the imperial court in the Forbidden City, he's looking to the positive power. When the emperor came out, he's looking towards the Antarctic. And
people want you to put your Gmail in the chat, please.
Yeah, I will do that after I talk to you.
That's fine. Yeah,
then,
let's let Linda speak real quick. I want to hear what Gina.
Sure, go ahead, Linda.
Oh, I just wanted to know if you could say it again because.
Oh, it's gonna get in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we'll be good.
This soul transfer thing. I've heard a lot about that. There's a lot of people that talk about that, and that they are that there's an opportunity that we have now to get out of this sort of trap.
Sure, Gene, you're breathing in the phone a little bit.
Okay, I'll only when I talk hold it close to my mouth. Otherwise, you can't hear me.
Okay. Yeah. So So what else did you have to say, real quick? Well, I want to ask a question. What's a Capricorn right now?
Yep, the soul trap captures you. Then you met by holograms based on your belief, and then you go out the northern storm, which is a hexagram, what they know as the veils, which erases your memory. And then you forget everything and you're reincarnated. And on Satan or Lucifer or Beelzebub or Moloch or Anubis or whatever type of being his avatar at the time. For those that don't believe that, back when I used to be totally atheistic, he actually ripped me from my rack on a submarine when I was at sea and pinned me to the ceiling and berthing, and the messenger of the watch came to wake me up. I was utterly afraid, and so I'm a little bit changed since that experience. So thank you for your time, both of you. God bless you both.
Remember, put your stuff in the chat, please. Everybody wants it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. God bless you both.
All right, take care.
Both of your shows.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I wanted to know what's a Capricorn now. Gene, can you put it in the chat? I want to know.
Pisces. That's like a whole new.
I'm a Pisces. Jesus.
I
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I want to know because I'm Capricorn. I want to know what's going on with that.
I guess this means everybody who needs to will have to.
Got to reset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take one more call. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Linda and Thomas. What's your name and where are you from? Hello? I do this every time. Are you there?
Hello?
Hey. You there?
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Hello?
your name and where you from?
California.
What's your name?
Roy.
Roy, what's up from California? How are you, my friend?
I'm awesome, Thomas.
What's
love you
on
guys.
your mind?
Love you.
Thank
Love
you.
Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys do an amazing job.
Thank you.
With everything that's going on in this spiritual warfare, I was born and raised a JW.
A JW?
Can I say what JW means?
I don't know what that means.
Jehovah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I was born and raised that my whole life. It was inbred to me. I'm one of 6 boys in my family.
Mm-hmm.
I have a twin brother. He was violated at 11. I'm 43.
Mm-hmm.
He was violated at 11 from a neighbor. It's a weird incident.
Sorry that happened.
I was born and raised in the Bay Area, okay?
Okay.
The Bay Area of the California sucks. It's just crazy what it has become.
Sure.
So when we were kids and we were raised, when we went to Modesto, we thought, new life, dad's got to make money to pay for 6 kids. Mom did daycare. Long story short, this whole religion, God, Satan, Illuminati, Cabal, all this stuff,
it never made sense to me as a little kid until I grew up. And then I started paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found out the truth that it's not about religion, it's
Correct.
about God. It's about the Bible.
About
It's
God,
all
yes.
written in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to go to my dad when I was in my early 20s, and I said, Dad, what is this? The Bible says this, but your religion is telling you this.
Ah.
Okay? If we look at how this goes, it's not about religion. You're friends with Jennifer Mack, Mark Taylor, and I have a question to you, and I'm curious because do you listen to what's that guy in Alaska? Daniel.
I know who that is.
You know who I'm talking about. Thank you. Hold on. He keeps trying to call out Mark Taylor's advisor.
Well, okay. Let me just say this.
Please.
Daniel had Mark Taylor on his show. Okay.
Right. He did.
And
he did.
Mark Taylor doesn't do very many interviews. Mark Taylor was very nice and went on his show. Next thing you know, Daniel's out saying he is in league with the devil and all this stuff. He's like dissing.
No, he said that one of Mark Taylor's advisors is on the board of something. Forgive me, I'm sorry.
One of President Trump's advisors.
What did God tell us? What did Jesus tell us? We're going to have false prophets.
No. One of President Trump's advisors is
on the board.
Yeah, I know. No. Mark Taylor said that one of Trump's advisors, they don't know too much. Her name's Paula White, I think, or something. Anyway, they're not too sure about her. They think she might be a New World Order. This is Mark Taylor that said that Paula White might be part of the New World Order. And he doesn't like Paula White being one of the president's advisors. So
who doesn't?
Mark Taylor doesn't.
Okay.
He said he wasn't going to judge her, but it made him uncomfortable to see that. So I don't know what Daniel says, but let me just say this about Daniel. He started trashing Mark. He started saying his messages came from the devil, and he had a problem with this and that and the other. Well, why doesn't he talk to Mark about that, number one, instead of making a video about it, number one? Number two, people warn
hold on.
Linda was talking, so let her finish. I want to hear what she says.
People warned
Go ahead.
People warned me about all this stuff about Daniel. You don't know about Daniel. You need to read online what is wrong with Daniel. Well, I didn't listen to people for a really long time. But after he said those things about Mark Taylor, there have been a few things that have been bothering me about Daniel already.
And I will agree with you. I will totally agree with you, because I started listening to Daniel, and when I started listening to him first, and he said this, and he said that, and this and that, the thing that bothered me was that when it came to his marriage, that he just recently got married to this lady, and she walked away from him after like a day or two. And it's like, why would you get married and your wife just left you after like a day or two?
Well, also,
how does that happen?
Also, if you go search him, you can find where
my question is, when you search, what do we search? What is right? What can we believe? Because if I go to Google and I Google Daniel whatever, am I supposed to believe what Google tells me?
I'll tell you what you can believe. You can believe your own eyes when it's him on video. It's him on video talking to a young girl, asking her to marry him, and she's like 14 years old. Look,
oh, Jesus.
Where's this?
You can believe his own tweet with his face on there saying, will you be my wife, to a 14-year-old girl? You can believe that.
Well,
That's disgusting.
Pardon
yeah,
me?
that's filthy. He said that's disgusting.
Well, I'm just
But
saying.
God said, what did God say? People will come as false prophets. So it seems like, because I seen the Mark Taylor stuff a year or two ago, I never give a crap about politics. I never give a crap about God or religion or anything, because I was raised a JW, and I had this brainwashed into me. My twin brother was molested by one of the members, and they just swept it under the rug. My dad let them sweep it under the rug, and I was like, what? If that was my kid, I'd
Sure.
want justice. I want justice. But they swept it under the rug. And once I started doing research and looking stuff up back when I first got married back in 2001, I destroyed my marriage. I destroyed everything because I was fighting to find out what is going on. Why my twin brother should be my best friend, my confidant, should be like my wife that I had at the time, right? But I lost him because he was so brainwashed by my parents in that cult of the religion. And I'll go back to your guys' show tonight. It's that cult. It's the brainwashing that they instill, that these people can't just think. Common sense is not common sense anymore.
Yeah, and
I
the
agree.
You can't have a conversation. They divide us. Like I said, before
Absolutely.
Obama was elected president, we didn't have a race problem.
yeah.
We did not have a race problem.
No, we didn't.
I didn't care. I didn't care about anything until everything after Obama. And I'm watching this stuff and I'm going like, why are you guys fighting?
Right.
Why are we arguing about this stuff? I mean, this is minute. This is stupid.
Well,
I mean,
that's the whole
come
plan
on.
is to do that, my man. We're running out of time. Dude, I appreciate your call. I'm really sorry that
I love you guys.
happened to you.
Thank you guys, Linda. Thank you. Please keep
good luck.
preaching the truth.
Yes.
Absolutely, Bob.
God be with you guys.
You too.
And have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah,
I got to
you
put my
know.
battery in here.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, this is you know, you gotta watch religion, my friends.
Well, lots of religions, and we've heard this, have been infiltrated, and they've got these, you know, there's this New World Order church that they are gathering a lot of pastors from all different religions. So, yeah, you're right that the actual churches, you know, these organizations, they've just gone amok. They've gone amok. And you can look at Joyce Meyer. I mean, I don't really know these people. I don't follow them, but they've got mega churches, you know, they make so much money. And it's all about this. I think what he was referring to about one of Trump's advisors is she preaches it's called what's it called? It's called like you know, if you donate money to me, you'll make money.
A pyramid scheme.
It's like a pyramid scheme, and they call it a certain type of church. It's like a you know, it's like if you give me money, then God will be look down on you favorably and
Sure.
get a financial return.
Sure.
And that's not, you know, that's not the way to go on that.
Nope.
So yeah, there's some questions about the couple of the religious people on his, but it's just like everything else. The church has been infiltrated as well. They actually, I don't know if you know this, Thomas, but it's the church actually has New World Order priests. They've
You told me about this.
Huh?
You told me about this. It's interesting. What's it called?
I forgot what it's called. They won't give the list to anyone. They're pastors from Methodist, Baptist, all manner of churches.
Mm-hmm.
And when the New World Order was to go down, they were supposed to preach for us to go to the FEMA camps. And they were going to help us go into the FEMA camps and help us accept this New World Order. They're part of it. There's a whole list of it. I forgot how many priests and Baptists, you know, it's all denominations.
Prosperity
Prosperity preaching, yes.
Thank you, Nancy Sawyer.
Thank you, Nancy Sawyer. Prosperity speaking, that preaching. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what you told me. We talked about that the other day. I think off the record, that's what we talked about. Linda, we've reached the top of the hour. Another just packed show. The entire show, so much information. I hope all of you guys enjoyed it. I think we had at one point 1,800 people in here. We're over 1,600 right now, guys. So please leave a like. Support me and Linda. This is, our platform is your platform. We created Beyond the Headlines because we want to talk about this stuff and we want to get it out to as many people as possible. I find it to be fun and interesting. I'm going to be honest, Linda. I'm learning so much from this, and I like the back and forth. I like this a lot. I like when you talk and I research it and I bring it up. This is a well-oiled machine.
And I learn a lot from the people in the chat and
yes.
the people who call and everything too. So it's like a mutual information exchange, about all these topics. And I know it's going to be, we're going to be hit with a lot of bad things, but don't forget, we're also going to be hit with a lot of amazing things, like things that we would never know existed. And lots of cures and things like that. So we've got a lot to look forward to as well.
Yeah, we're advancing in such a quick rate. The movie, we're getting into the nitty gritty of the good part of the movie. I really believe that 2020 is going to be incredible. It's going to be prosperous. It's going to be full of love. There'll probably be just stay strong. Stay strong to your beliefs, but keep that open mind, because there's going to be some stuff out there that might floor you. So you got to keep an open mind. I hope you can get that mindset before it's too late. Linda, where can everyone reach you at, and how can they support you?
Well, I'm at McAllister TV on YouTube and on BitChute. And you can go to my website, which I'm kind of revamping it. But right now, the main post I have is memes. I've got all kinds of links to the Q Mega Meme folder and all kinds of other memes. So that's up there now. And that is at deplorablemcallister.com. And if anything happens to anything, you can always go to deplorablemcallister.com and you can find my videos, because I'm not going to stop making them.
Absolutely. We don't stop what we're doing. I think we have a mission. I think we're on a mission somehow. I don't know if we were picked or chosen. I don't know. I have no idea. Put that on Twitter the other day.
I feel pretty doggone lucky right now, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting. You can follow me here if you want to spread this information far and wide. You can support it by going to PayPal, Patreon. All the links are in the description of every video and, in the chat as well. Truman, been a pleasure, my friend. And Linda. Absolutely. Thanks to all the callers. Thanks to everyone who left a like, everyone who donated. Huge successful show, and we couldn't do this without you guys. So Linda, I enjoyed it, and I guess we'll see you guys next Friday. I don't know what the topic's going to be, but I'm guaranteeing you it's going to be wonderful. So
that's going to be good. There's so many to choose from. There
is, and we'll definitely talk about that. Also, guys, big announcement on the 22nd. I will be on Red Pill 78's Christmas show. That's in 2 days, so check that out. It's going to be me, and I am so stoked. I will be on the same show as Neon Revolt. Neon Revolt is one of the biggest reasons that this channel is the way it is. I covered him from the very beginning, and before, when we all started getting into this from the get-go. So I'm looking forward to that. Kind of stoked about it. So, guys, thank you, Linda, as always, and I will talk to you guys. Follow us on all social media, and thanks for joining us. Always know God's in control, and everything will work out in the end, my friends. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.